What's up guys, Tim McQueen here, and today we're going to talk about how to build a successful personal brand on LinkedIn in 2025. Whether or not you know it, you already have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. Or in LinkedIn's case, what people think when they see your name in search results, when they see your name next to a post, or when they visit your profile. The only question is, are you intentional about building your personal brand? It doesn't matter if you're a small business owner, an up-and-coming author, a marketing director of a Fortune 500 company, or the owner of a $100 billion hedge fund. Everyone needs a personal brand. 2025 will be dominated by personal brands. People trust and follow individuals, not just companies. This applies to all industries. A personal brand is not only necessary, it's also highly profitable and offers a wide variety of monetization options. But most importantly, it allows you to charge a premium, whether this is your salary, your services, or your products. Okay, let's talk about examples. Take this white plain shirt. You can buy a pack of 5 for $15 or about $3 per shirt. Assuming the cost of goods of $1, this is still a 200% profit margin. But we can do even better. Have a look at this wonderful Gucci shirt. It's also plain white. The only difference is it had a little bit of embroidery at the front, a white stitching of the Gucci logo. This one sells for $820. Okay, granted, probably they use a little bit more expensive cotton and the manufacturing is a bit more expensive. The embroidery costs extra. But let's say instead of $1, it costs them $8.20 to make this. This one is still a 10,000% profit margin, a lot more than the 300% we got for the first shirt. Another example of very successful personal branding, you might have personal experiences at the office. Remember that one colleague, despite knowing less than you, being less capable than you, and taking more time and getting the result done only half as good as you, still managed to get twice the salary? How? Because they were super successful at establishing their personal brand in one-to-one coffee meetings on a daily basis with the boss. Now, if you master personal branding, this could be you in 2025. The bigger your brand, the higher the premium that you can command. That premium doesn't only apply to products and services. It also applies to ideas. A strong personal brand allows you to take an ordinary idea, then take that idea, process it through your mental filters, your way of thinking, your beliefs, your values, your unique way of looking at the world, and then to transform it into a unique, charismatic message that still essentially says the same, but sounds like something only you could have come up with. Many people get personal branding all wrong. They think it's about being an influencer or being famous. There is no need to prove anything. You don't need to use fake props or gimmicks like luxury items, expensive cars, expensive real estate, or high-level connections in order to establish your personal brand. There is no need to artificially inflate your results or to go for algorithm-driven growth. There is no need to buy likes, comments, or shares of fake followers. Building an authentic personal brand is about building trust and influence among the people you care about. It should always be based on your core beliefs and principles and not on what's marketable. Why is now the perfect time to start your personal brand and why LinkedIn? LinkedIn, often only known for its job searching capabilities, is actually one of the largest social media networks in the world with over 1 billion members. And best of all, only 16 million people on the entire platform are actually creating content. Everyone else there is just consuming content. That means on every one creator, there are 62.5 people who are only reading content, only watching videos, only reading articles. So that's a great advantage because that means that every post that you're posting has a high chance of seen by a lot of relevant people in your niche. Building a personal brand takes time and consistency. The quicker you start, the better results you're going to get. Competition will only increase as time goes on. It's best to be hyper-specific and to have a very narrow niche, and then create all of your content around that narrow niche. And then as your brand grows, expand later and make more generic content later as you go on. A really good starting point to develop and define your niche is to find your one-sentence elevator pitch. Who are you serving? What problem are you solving? What is the solution you're offering? And why should people choose you over another? Then within that niche that you just carved out, I want you to ask yourself, in that niche, are you one of the 100 best in the world? If your answer is yes, perfect, you found your niche. If your answer is not yet, you might want to be a little bit more specific about your niche. Maybe you find something within that niche where you are the very best in the world, or you might maybe in the top 100 or top 50 or top 10. It's really best to have a really well-defined niche where you among the top in the world, to build a small audience in that area, and then as you growing that audience, to go into broader topics. Now, if you, after all this, like by going in more and more narrow, you still haven't found something where you're in the top 100 in the world, what you can do instead is you can document your journey as you're learning and you're making your way to the top of becoming one of the best in your field. In a way, make your mess your message. Ready to build your personal brand? And let's talk about how we can actually do that. There is a specific technique that you need to master in order to build your personal brand on LinkedIn. Is you need to have the ability to engineer perception. What am I talking about? Perception engineering? So when someone looks at you, they only have a very limited number of information. They might have a look at like your face. They might see your facial expression. Are you smiling? They might see your hair color, your skin color, your clothing, like what are you wearing, what brands are you wearing. They might see you in a specific context. They might see you out on the street. They might see you in an expensive restaurant. All of this information people take to kind of create an image of you. Of course, that's a very basic, often very wrong way of looking at someone. And what we're talking about is how can we send the right signals so people can get a quick idea of who you truly are and like what you're standing for without giving someone like your entire life story. Of course, one thing first, everyone is infinitely complex. And if anyone would really want to understand you, they would have to live 30 plus years or however many years you have been alive in order to completely understand you. 30 plus years of memories, including all the feelings, every single thought that you ever felt, and like every single experience, every smell you ever smelled, like any heartbreak you ever went through, any happiness you went through, and every epiphany moment you ever had. Now, even if we were saying like we have to reduce that as too much, like nobody has time for that. Even if you wrote down like a diary every day about your life, it would still be billions of pages of text that someone needs to read through. It's not going to happen on LinkedIn, and especially we don't really have the time to do that. So what can we do? If you want to give people a close enough impression of who you are, we have to do some compromises. We have to identify what are the core elements we want to see. So think of me having like a puzzle, 100 pieces. This is like my entire personality. So what I'm trying to do is like, let's say in my puzzle, there is a landscape, there is like some mountains, some rivers, maybe like a city here and like a street over there. There's some grass, some animals and some birds flying around. So what I want to do is I want to give you like just the puzzle pieces that give you enough information in order for you to understand kind of who I am. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but you're going to have an idea somewhat close. I might give you a piece of a mountain, piece of a river, piece of a bird, piece of an animal, piece of a grass, and like a piece of a, let's say like a building in the city. And then of course there is like huge gaps in between where there is nothing. But that's not really important because a lot of the elements are repeating themselves in one form or another. It's just you have to get an idea that is good enough. So if you don't believe me, have a look at this example over here and see how your mind is able to fill in the blanks. Now that we understand how to engineer a really good impression of who you truly are on LinkedIn, let's put this into action. Let's optimize your LinkedIn profile. Now, I could talk about optimizing your LinkedIn profile for probably hours. So in this video, because it's about personal branding, we're going to keep it really short. There are 3 aspects on your LinkedIn profile that are most important for personal branding. First, you have to get a professional headshot picture. I recommend investing into a professional headshot photographer and getting at least 20 to 30 pictures taken. Then take those pictures on a website like Photofeeler and let crowdsource feedback on your pictures decide which one makes you look most authoritative, friendly, and charismatic, and upload this onto your LinkedIn profile. Next, take your one-sentence elevator pitch and turn this into your LinkedIn headline. And then last but not least, take advantage of the featured section on LinkedIn. This allows you to pin any content on your LinkedIn profile at the very top. This could be like a link to your sign-up form for your newsletter. It could be a link to your contact form. Could be a link to one of your blog posts, a link to a YouTube video, link to white paper, anything that you want people to know about. You could also be like you pinning your most successful LinkedIn posts that always get you like a lot of comments and likes on your profile. This way you have a profile that when someone comes to the top of your profile, they see a friendly face. They instantly understand who you are because it's your one-sentence elevator pitch. And if they scroll a bit lower, they have a resource where they can learn more about you. Now that we have optimized your LinkedIn profile, let's create a ton of puzzle pieces so people can truly understand who you are and really build your personal brand. And the answer to all of this is creating content. Think of each piece of content that you're putting out on LinkedIn as another puzzle piece carefully crafted to give the reader or the viewer, if you're making video, one bit of information that you want them to know that is essential about you. This is the kind of the one bird over here, the one cow over here, and this one house over there. We are really engineering perception with the creation of content on LinkedIn. And the more pieces we're putting out there, the better people understand who you are, what problems you solve, what solutions you're offering, and why they should pick you over anyone else. Now, if you want to get the best possible results, you need to be strategic about which content pieces you're putting out in which order. In other words, you need a content strategy. The best way to build a basic LinkedIn content strategy is to think in terms of content clusters. What are some buckets of similar topics that are closely related to what your audience cares most about? This can be common challenges. This can be things that align with their goal and how they can get closer to their goal. It can be specific aspects of a problem, specific common problems, specific aspects or solutions that you're offering. I recommend limiting yourself to 3 to 5 of the most important content clusters within your niche. Topics that are evergreen, that are showing up every day again and again, no matter how many times you explain them. And then create content ideas for each of those buckets. This makes it super easy to generate like an infinite number of content ideas. Once you're just thinking in terms of like, I only have to come up with ideas for bucket number 1. And once you have like 20 ideas in that one, you can go over to bucket number 2 and develop 20 ideas for that. Find the most common questions for each of the buckets and then turn each question into a piece of content ideas. Let's talk about some of the most popular content types on LinkedIn. We have text-only posts, we have PDF documents, videos, very, very hip in 2025. LinkedIn is really pushing that now that TikTok might get banned, and photo posts. What you want to do is you want to focus on giving value without expecting anything in return. I recommend sharing actionable tips and honest experiences without holding back. You really need to let your audience feel the genuine intent behind the content that you're putting out there. They need to feel that you really care about them. It's also important, if you want to build a really authentic brand, that you're not just sharing your achievements. Also talk about your challenges, your struggles. It makes you more human and more relatable and creates an overall more authentic brand. One of the most underrated aspects when it comes to personal branding on LinkedIn is actually developing your own IP. I'm talking about starting to develop your own language and to name the ideas, concepts, and systems that you're developing. Once you name something, you own it. People will remember those terms, they will associate them with your names, which not only makes you more memorable, it makes you unforgettable. Creating content on LinkedIn is only half of the secret. The second half is engaging with your audience and other members on LinkedIn. When you're building your personal brand, you always want to reply to every single comment that you're receiving under your own post. You also want to connect with other creators and other thought leaders on LinkedIn platform. Find interesting people, follow them, turn on notifications. When they post something that is really valuable, leave a meaningful comment. Build relationships with other people on the platform. Send out connection requests. You can send out like maybe 10 to 20 connection requests each week. And you're going to see that you're going to have an incredible, powerful LinkedIn network in little to no time. All right, you made it all the way to the end of this video. I hope you learned a lot of ideas and interesting concepts that will help you get your personal brand on LinkedIn started in 2025. If you want to get more ideas on how to build your personal brand, I really recommend to check out my YouTube channel. Like, click the icon down here and check out the video section. There's a ton of videos on building your personal brand with all different aspects, whatever your goal is on LinkedIn. Of course, if you want to get more videos, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. You can also check out my LinkedIn Accelerator program on my website. It's my A to Z program on how to build a personal brand if you want to support the channel, or you can download my free LinkedIn hashtag guide. I'm going to put both links down in the description and into the pinned comment below, and I see you in the next video. Bye.